Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to put a tag specifically on our videos that I think we did funnier than other ones. It's just a motivation. I haven't sorted out how it would work, but it's there.
I'd kill him.
You would.
Nadia frowned softly, nodding to herself.
Yes, absolutely. Just sagely. Yes. That makes me feel better about my own decision. Only, I worry how it may change me. I've never committed a murder before. Corazon, I have, just walking down the street.
Aye, that is my whole day, is to slay.
Lucio treated killing like some light affair, or something to be proud of.
This is not a light affair.
And I don't want to be like him.
So you're not like him. You're killing him in order to literally save other people's fucking lives.
I still find it fascinating that, okay, I don't know how Vesuvia is meant to be presented, but as a player playing the game, it feels like this sort of magical, kind of distant, exotic city where you've got canals going through it like Venice, and you've got this, sort of mysterious plague, and you have all these beautiful people, right? And you have magic and the Arcana. But, you literally had it run by an absolute baby man tyrant who had a coliseum where he murdered people in public.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and everyone watched a blood sport.
Yeah, actively, and they were fine with it.
Uh-huh.
There was, as far as we can also tell, at least in both the routes that we've played, nobody had any amount of really being like, oh, this is bad, other than the main characters. We haven't run into, normal people stating that this is abnormal. Now, it's interesting that all your basically main characters think it's horrible, but you have a connection to Muriel?
No, but I was just we go into the city, and, the bread seller's God, I hate that fucking Lucio. He used to murder people in public all the time. It's just, we all hate Lucio, sigh.
Right? There's no amount of, detail other than just, Lucio. Fuck
also,
that guy.
I want somebody to be like, I hate Lucio because he had someone in my family murdered in the Colosseum by his brute.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have a vendetta against Muriel in that way. And then you actually have an active sort of side thing of this person going, I can never put this down.
I'm suddenly okay, so having never played or know anything about Muriel's root, I wonder if that's a thing in there. People going, you killed my fucking family.
That would actually be impressive, especially considering his magic is literally to be forgotten, regardless of when you see him. But
yeah, maybe no one can remember. They're just my dad died in the Colosseum. I don't know how, but he did.
Maybe?
Okay.
Or, yeah, I didn't.
Something to be proud of.
And again, I love the fact that, killing can only be done for these reasons. Period. Especially, so a lot of cultures around the world have also looked at killing as, one, a way to have justice, two, a way to also basically have sacrifice, a way to, so you have religious worship, you have basically, normal, everyday, that's why I'm I want culture.
Hang on. He reveled on the battlefield and reviled peacetime.
Wait,
so he was a fighter?
He went to war?
And I was gonna say, he went to war and he kicked
was a
ass?
warlord?
But also, he murdered people himself instead of with someone else? I'm interested suddenly.
Okay.
I didn't know he was also a murder pinata. Reveled on the battlefield. So, he really did. He went to war. It wasn't just a painting. I must do this. I only fear it will become easy for me. Easy for you to kill one spirit that's mostly dead?
That is really
that killing in general will become easy for you? Maybe? You're afraid that if you do one more thing like him, you'll just turn into him.
I also think it's really funny. So a lot of the tone here seems to be Vesuvia seems to remind me a lot of Venice,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So a lot of that is there. I'm we're talking about the fucking Borgia family that was in Venice that killed hundreds of people by poisoning constantly. They were known for doing that. The Borgia family was a nightmare, and that was
that's what Lucio's based on?
Maybe, but I'm just I'm entertained as to their various inspirations, right? And then going, oh my god, murdering becomes so easy. Oh my god, have you history? The history that you were specifically apparently inspired by has so much blood and death and murder in it.
I appreciate her concern here. I am confused as to why it is a concern, and having no connection to it as a character or a player, I'm here we go.
And also at the same time too, she says she cares about her people. Why is she then so worried about Lucio, who literally hurt and tortured many people, and everybody agrees is a bad guy, and that if he ever came back and that he has the plague, I don't understand her motivation.
She's not concerned about killing Lucio. She's concerned about making a choice to be a killer.
Yes.
And that is a different thing. At least that's my interpretation.
Which I think is funny that she doesn't consider herself to be a killer when her dude would have to hang Julian. She, technically, by way of instigating that, she is already a killer.
But Julian didn't stay dead.
That doesn't matter. She's already killed a dude.
Also, if capital punishment was standard whenever you were ruling, then you've probably already been involved in it. If I didn't kill them with my own hand, it doesn't count.
I'm also like...
I must do this. I only fear it will become easy for me.
I reach out, taking both of her hands and press a soft kiss to each of them. I suppose.
For reasons.
It won't. You're not doing this because you love it. You're doing it because you have to.
Besides, where are you going to find other ghosts to kill?
I write other ghosts. And also, how would you consider it? It's fine.
Nadia
is like,
you know what? I've developed a taste for it, and I was never expected to. Goes and finds builds an active portal into the Arcana's realms, goes and murders spirits.
Right?
I'm a Ghostbuster!
I think the thing that's interesting here is going like, oh my god, you're killing a person. Like, okay, let's say, yeah, you are killing a person. Let's just be honest. You are killing a person. You're ending a person's existence in one way or another, whether it's undead or not.
Mm-hmm.
However, you are making the choice that other people's lives have more value and more worth than that one does. Mm-hmm. Which, based off of everything that we've heard so far, and literally what will happen if he comes back, that's perfectly acceptable.
That is, I was going to say, while it is killing someone, it is not murder.
Yes.
So in the laws of like war, which we as our society in real life have, and in just regular society, self-defense or defense of another is a legal reason to kill. Now it has to be proven, sort of thing. Like it has to be reasonable, and it can still be framed as manslaughter, depending, but it's never murder.
Yes.
And so it's like if he is going to murder hundreds and or thousands and or what have you, and you know this, and of course you're in charge of the legal system and above the law anyway, yeah, it's not murder anymore. It's okay.
It's very different.
It's self-defense, actually, except for it's the defense of others. It's taking in that like legal right to rescue.
Yes.
Kind of thing, or obligation to rescue.
Yes.
Have
you
to.
have to. That's what makes you a good ruler, which you haven't really done much of recently.
You're
taking an action would be great.
Taking action, doing what you have to. Excellent. Let's promote this.
Let's do this at all. Yes, brilliant. Nadia gives me a soft, tired smile.
Thank you, Corazon. I hope you are right, that I will not develop a taste for... You know what? Killing a ghost was amazing. I now want to slaughter everything.
Corazon.
Don't worry, I won't splatter your garments. Ah! Goes and steals Lucio's sword.
That was quite an escalation.
Hey, we have escalated.
Why?
I suppose it is an action of a sort.
Yes. Nadia shakes her head, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath.
Oh, deep breath, everybody. What a dour topic for such festivities.
Corazon, I don't believe I believe you. There are lots of cultures who actually celebrate festivities by having a sacrifice of some kind. This again where I'm like, I would love to have culture.
More culture
because
would help.
I'm like, I just don't.
In some ways,
Ah!
the more I think about it, I think you're supposed to assume the culture based on Nadia's behavior. Except for she's a foreigner, so
Yeah?
that's kind of like, I don't know how much
I have
she's
conflict of
assimilated.
interest.
Exactly. And her going, well, this thing, and going, okay, it could imply that you're not into talking about these types of things at a party, and so death isn't really part of your culture.
Right.
But it clearly is part of Lucio's culture, but is this city Lucio's culture?
Right?
Like, was he raised here, or did he come from here? Did he build the castle here, etc.?
Right?
So, is this his culture? And if it's not, then whose culture is it?
Right? We're sort of making strange assumptions.
I still want to know who the last rulers were, okay?
I do, right?
I cannot stand standing around waiting for others. Makes me antsy and maudlin.
Corazon,
Corazon.
this is depressing.
Corazon also going, I also have difficulty standing around and waiting for others. Looks meaningfully at Nadia.
Like, I'm here to support you. I thought you were going to be very active.
Do you know
Why
how
was
much
I wrong?
waiting I have done? Do you know how much you've asked me to wait around more actively?
Actually,
A lot.
a lot.
Maudlin.
Not that Corazon would really say that out
No,
loud,
no,
but there'd
not
be like that
whatsoever.
stress of like,
That just sort of quiet look of, really?
makes you maudlin and antsy.
Does it?
Does it?
Does it now?
There must be something I can do to cheer her up.
Do we need to cheer her up? What?
We should go do something fun. Are there any masquerade rooms you wanted to see? Why are we...
You know, rooms you designed yourself and scheduled for the party, but you didn't decorate yourself.
So, okay, I find this to be really silly. So Corazon would not fucking do this, because the thing is going, well, if standing around and waiting makes you antsy, we have other things that we could go take care of in order to find out more about Lucio. Hi, I have studying that I could do. I could go talk to Ass for more about what are the steps you need to take, what are the things to expect. Like, I'm like, there's so many other things you could do. I don't need to go have fun.
On! Hey, Julian! Oh, in earshot of everyone! Could you get that damn important book?
Right?
I hate waiting on other people.
Right? I'm like,
why did we send him? Well, because I have to be here. We're off in a garden alone where no one can see us anyway.
Well, and I'm also was going to say, then what we could do is we could go back into the crowd and actually deal with people's problems.
Let's go talk to Shrimp Lady.
Yes, even if it's fucking annoying, because that's a thing to take care of.
And if you want to be present and be seen, which you're not doing right now, and
because you're off in a corner.
I'm like, Nadia, you said the reason you weren't going to do these things yourself was because you needed to be present and be seen. You know, and then you're not doing being present and being seen. So if Corazon was going to suggest you do something, it would be, well, we don't have to wait on them. We can do our part of the task, which is be present and be seen.
Yes, so this would not happen. This is we should go do something fun. Are there any masquerade rooms you wanted to see?
Corazon goes, we should go and do our part of the task.
Yes.
And be seen.
Which is, we should go check out more of the masquerade and actually talk to the people this time instead of running away.
Yes, that will be a lovely break from waiting.
Yes, it would be.
A room. Well, there is one. Is it full of people that can see you?
Right? She smiles, pulling her mask back on, and leads me hand in hand away from the fountain and back to the party.
I love how you just suddenly, with no warning at all, a few episodes were just like, well, here's what the MC says, and I'm the MC! Hi! Oh my god. Alright. Because the thing is who has an MC who's actually that enthused about all of this? I need to know.
Me too.
Alright.
Well, and also, again, just like repeatedly running away. I can't stop hounding this because it annoys me. I'm like, I really am just like, Nadia was going to be active. Like, all the cues, all the language around her, all of her presentation.
She gets up and gets things done.
She doesn't do any of it.
And then I'm just like,
I mean, she does a little bit, but it's like pulling teeth.
What's really fascinating to me is that we both are just like, she doesn't want to be doing this, and assumed it wasn't actually part of the main plot. But the devil himself went, you don't want to be doing this. You would rather have a break. So it's like, it is part of the plot, and it's really interesting that they went that direction, but I don't know if they're going to pay it off.
I don't know either, and actually, based off of Julian's, I'm afraid they won't, because I don't, like, again, I think you have some element of, again, we also are caught up in basically what this looks like. What we have is we're writing fan fiction, you know, and stuff is still getting done, but she's not doing. She's not
it's just happening.
She's very reactive rather than active.
All right.
Back to the party.
Go, party, go.
People greet us cheerfully as we pass them in the halls, some stopping to chat for a bit.
None
Perfect.
needing anything all of a
Suddenly.
Excellent. They finally figured out that you can ask a servant to refill your drink instead of your countess.
Right? Nadia smiles and replies, navigating the situation with ease, her hand resting comfortingly on my lower back. I do not like this touching in public. Still don't like it.
I would tolerate it, but it is not intimate. It is performative.
Eventually.
It feels performative for her, too.
Yeah, it does.
I am showing off. Also, I'm just like, suddenly everyone's just, now I'm just friendly, and now I'm just talking, and she's like, and now I'm perfectly comfortable with everyone instead of running away.
Right. Eventually, we turn down another hallway, lit a little darker than the rest. Nadia gives me a slow grin.
Ah, yes. Here it is. You know, I've been wanting to come here with you since I first planned the room.
She has planned all the rooms, and then she was like, I do not literally know what any of these are.
I know. Like I said, she planned the entire party. She had to hire everyone who was here. So even if her sisters did decorations, all of the people who were hired would know what kind of event they were supposed to be setting up.
I don't understand.
And the performers would know what they were supposed to be performing, let alone the people hosting the edible and, bioluminescent or magical paint room, and which then would stock it and remove it, kind of thing. She hired them to do what they're doing, and someone else finally directed them where the fuck to go.
But I'm also like, you know then what this stuff... Or again, it's like you just completely forgot because you don't care.
Or going, I know that these are 4 seasonal rooms. Let's look at them and see what they're like.
Right?
I guess my sisters may have decorated them in a way.
Right? I'm like,
I'm also interested that you've never commented on any of your sister's decoration choices since you've said you didn't literally do any of them.
Right?
But all of them were your plans. And I'm also surprised it doesn't affect you emotionally. And you've made such a big leap at this point as to go, even though I know I planned a seasonal room, awesome, and I go in there and then be like, it's really interesting that she decided to do giant acorns the size of hot air balloons. I wouldn't have chosen that.
Right?
Or something, or going, I wish I had thought of whatever this thing is that looks really good.
Right?
You know?
Especially if she was going to have that basically sibling insecurity of going, I feel invalidated, I feel like they're always better than me and they're always trying to show off.
one up. Yes.
Yeah. And like still having that lingering effect. But again, I'm like, we really did seem to mostly drop her issue with her siblings pretty quickly.
Like I said, it
like
seemed
there's still
like
some of it. But
once we danced with her, she was like, I no longer am insecure about friendships or siblings.
because I have a romantic partner.
Maybe.
Or like, and I was able to show off. Like, how
First,
does that sound?
Planned the room.
She opens the door, leading me inside.
The door was closed. It's a public room and the door was closed.
To a room filled with mirrors, arranged in a twisting maze around us.
I thought to myself, why? What could be better than one corazon? Nothing. Corazon's the best.
It's many, clearly.
Oh dear. 100 of you I could gaze upon if I like.
Corazon, I wish I had better clothes with which to grace your eyes.
As you've given me this strip of cloth.
I'm still never gonna let that go. I'm like, you gave
Corazon,
us
I
a
have
sheet.
tied this into a fashionable toga and put some accessories from the clothes I was wearing previously onto it. And that is the best I've gotten. I have to be seen in this because this is now my job. Sigh. Sigh.
Do you ever just want to feel like do you ever want to feel like you're the concubine story? Does that kind of like, it feels like a concubine fanfic where you're just like, here's the character and then you're this one and you're the concubine and they're like, oh yes, I am the lord and I will show you off. And you're like, I'm trying not to fall out of my clothes.
You're also like, I've been put in clothing that I know nothing about. I don't know if I can move in this very much at all. I don't know if I bend over. Are these fragile? Is this waterproof? I feel like I shouldn't get near anything and get stained. You know? And you said like other people are like, we will dress you and we will perfume you. You're like, I hate the way this smells, but he likes it, so it's okay.
You feel it. I'm so happy.
Honestly, I'm like, I would have that OC. I would be that one who's like, yes, I am here to look amazing in the way that he thinks looks amazing because he dresses and styles me. And I am here to be sexually available to him. What else I'm doing with my life, I really don't know. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I get food and water and free health care, room and board, so it's not a bad job. It's a job, but he loves you. I don't think this is love.
Honey.
No.
Honey, no.
I feel like she's concubine.
It's like an affection for a pet, really.
It's really like an interesting decoration. It's like we're a convenience to him. You know, he doesn't even actually choose our clothes. He just kind of tells the stylist vaguely what he's in the mood for. It's like he doesn't care. No, but then he picks you, usually because I'm standing closer. How I accidentally gained in the ranks by standing near him so less people would try and touch me. He thought I liked him because I was around him all the time. Or he let me stand closer because he kept ending up choosing me to take me into his bed because I was closest to him.
God, sometimes romance tropes just crack me up.
Anyway, gaze upon if I'd like. Forget that damn concubine. Look at me. Talk to me. Gaze upon 100 me.
She trails her hand lightly over my arm, leaning forward to murmur into my ear. And I assume that there are people in this room. I still don't fucking like this.
That there are other people using this mirror maze.
Yes.
Actually, I think we could make a game of it, if you like. Why don't you chase me through a hall of mirrors that is publicly open to everyone at the party? Or you have to be scared. These ones feel more like your traditional tropey ones of you will be sort of punished character-wise if you don't choose the paid option.
Right.
And I'm kind of frustrated / disappointed about that, you know? Going, I I don't understand why you'd have to be scared, or if you go, oh no, I'm scared of getting lost. I want you to stand next to me.
Yeah.
But also, again, we're still not, we appeared publicly for a moment, then to disappear into apparently a very unused attraction since the door was closed.
Yeah.
And there was no one even attending the door.
No, not even slightly. Honestly, I don't know how to...
I think Corazon, being tired of the various diversions, would be like, I'm scared of getting lost. Deadpan afterwards. That waited mic drop. Oh no.
Terrified.
Just shivering.
In my...
What are these?
Stockings.
In my shoes.
Sure.
Alright,
because I have no motivation to
also,
do that. I'm also,
I do
again,
not
just
see Corazon leaning on their cane being like, why don't you chase me?
No, there is also that. But I am also just like, we really said we were going to go do this, and then it's like, the whole point of this is trying to get somewhere so we can go run off to do this thing, not so we can actually take care of stuff and be seen in public.
And I get the whole, hi, is there anything you've wanted to see? I'd like to enjoy something with you. But Nadia seems to be seriously like, we can't enjoy things with each other in a group setting.
No.
It has to be completely alone, or it's me dominating and showing you off.
Yes.
Like, the two of us cannot interact in a public setting together.
Yes, it has to be me specifically in control and you basically following my lead if it's in a public setting and other people are
And
there.
if it's in private, we can do stuff together.
Yes, which is, I get it a little bit, and that's fair. But it's also, it's not even just like, I'm mean, dominant, and I'm like, here's this thing that's here for me. I'm specifically showing you off, and like, this is mine, woo, 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 woo. And it's not the same.
Look, I have access to this. Look, it's mine. Look, I can touch it. Look, it'll be next to me.
Yeah, instead of going like, I
and
don't
then, when we're alone together, Corazon, speak to me. I value your time and thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, motherfucker. It's
all
fine.
right,
I'm
scared. So
I'm scared of getting lost.
I love Corazon. Lost? Corazon, no matter how lost you might be, I promise, I will always find you. I want her to be more flirty looking that. She goes super contemplative, but I don't care.
I'd be like, no, I will always find you.
I will always find you. Even in the realms of the dark and in the Arcana, I will find you.
With what magic?
How dare. You know, I have this magic symbol. Oh,
This thing that allows me to see
Something.
things in a sort of nondescript sort of way.
sometimes.
She smiles and presses a soft kiss to my cheek, then straightens.
Wait, she was unstraightened?
What?
I
They
think
really
that
just
was
want us
a-
to be short.
You leaned down and then straightened. I'm like, why do you want all the MCs? She wouldn't need to straighten unless she bent down to give that kiss. Why
Yes.
is your MC shorter than the main character?
Always.
Than a love interest, okay? You know what, one of these days I'm going to write one where it assumes that you are a foot taller than everyone you're trying to date, and it's going to be canon. You are a tall individual. Pick your gender. Everyone you're looking to date is a foot shorter than you or more. Actually, you're All Might, I'm sorry. Now, go out there and hit on those sexy beans.
I know. Actually, it's one of the things that makes me very, nervous about, looking at Muriel's stuff, because I was like, so even us potentially doing his route, because I'm like, he's supposed to be enormous.
Okay, so
and I'm afraid... No, I know. We're going to do somebody who's huge. But the problem I'm afraid of is just it's going to be everywhere going, you have to lean into him, you have to lean up to him, you have to do... I'm like, stop it.
I was going to say, so badly, my first thought was, the biggest, baddest customer should be trying to date Muriel. Someone who's 8 inches taller than him and almost twice as wide.
Yeah.
You know, just being like, you are adorable. Yes!
Right?
You don't want you afraid of everything? Hide in my cloak. You can do it. I will carry you across the river. All right. But I wouldn't want you to feel uncomfortable. Come, we shall find something else to pass the time then. Or going, come, let us walk through it together then?
Right? We don't have to leave the maze. I'm also again, if you're thinking about Corazon being differently abled with actually having, again, I can't decide if it's a congenital defect or something else, right? So I haven't landed on anything. But it is an actual thing of going, why is this the only options?
And going, Nadia said she wanted to see this room.
Uh-huh.
And then since we don't want to run away from her in it, instead of be with her in it, she doesn't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, which is weird. I'm like,
That's it. It's
you can
like,
only do the I want to chase you thing, you know.
or you to chase me.
Yeah. Nadia turns to leave the room, just as trumpets sound in the distance. Her face drains of color as she hears them too.
Oh dear. Ah. That must be more family arriving.
I'm very surprised that you lost that much color in your face, Nadia. Were you written by a white person?
I was blushing beforehand.
Right.
Now I've just gone uniform.
She takes a deep breath and glances warily towards the front of the palace.
From inside the mirror maze. It's okay. If it is mother or father, it won't be so bad. I can even handle Natikwa. But if it's Nafisa...
Milady, there you are! Crown Princess Nafisa has arrived!
Yep. Well, let's get this over with. We'll receive them in the ball.
Sure!
All right. Lovely. If it's anyone but that, it's that.
Yes. And I apologize. I understand, like, it is a thing that I have learned about in regards to especially, like, white writers doing it inadvertently, of assuming that even people who have darker colored skin or just have more melanin, that they will, for example, blush really obviously, or
that their faces can drain of color when they're scared.
Yeah, and it's really not. And I know some people, depending on your skin tone, even if you're going, like, you can see it visibly, but, like, that's so...
It's a very specific thing that's way more obvious in white people.
Yes. And the thing is yeah, I'm like, it's just...
I think here it's just being used as a writing convention rather than thinking about the character's actual skin tone.
Yes.
Of going, this is a thing you hear in books, the color drains out of them.
Right. And it's a lack of awareness, basically, of people who have different colored skin.
I think it's also a lack of just thinking about the character at all, and just going, this is what happens here emotionally.
Right, and then you need to convey basically that fear, and they're going, the blood drains, so you don't have to say she looks scared. You actually have a visual indicator, and then that conveys an emotion.
A visceral feel to
yes,
it. Yes,
exactly. When we get there, the whole room is in a hush, eagerly anticipating the impending arrival. But they said that they had arrived. Never mind.
Arriving to this room.
Right.
Arrived at the palace, and then you arrive to the room. I walk into a room. Then I walk into the room. Then I walk into a room. Then I walk into a room. Purse first.
Purse first. Whack, whack.
It seems the rest of the party had the same idea.
She sighs and then takes a spot in the center of the room, careful to place me right by her side. The double doors slowly swing open, admitting a retinue of decorated people.
Why would the double doors close during the midst of a party when people needed to be moving in and out? Okay.
I don't understand, especially because the party, as far as we know, this masquerade takes place not only outside and inside, but, like, it's this weird mishmash of you can go anywhere and everywhere, and you're expected to.
All over the grounds and all over
Which
the
is
palace.
also, though, why it was good to point out that why were the doors closed.
And that's one of the things. So, in one of my particular beefs in writing, but also so I've listened to a number of people talk about things that they know that they're subject matter experts on. And one of the people that I've heard talk is about castles. And they talk really, really thoroughly about how fantasy castles are usually a terrible mess and how they're really annoyed about it. But they also wrote some books, about castles. I cannot remember who it is, but I learned this whole thing when I was 14, 15 years old. And this person just going off aggressively before it was a big internet thing of being like, look, I hate the way people write castles in fantasy and in fiction. And basically a lot of it was, all of your doors that are meant to be accessed to the public are all open at all times. Every castle gate scene where you come up and you knock on the gate or try to get through the gate with the guards, your castle is a place of commerce and trade and activity and a political center. It is always open during the day unless you're at war or there's a plague or something.
Yeah.
And in this case, there was a plague, but there's not anymore. And if you're at the height of a party, having to go and wait for doors to be opened and stuff makes no sense.
Yeah.
Now, a single party room, sure, maybe have the doors closed. But if you want people to comfortably go in and out, unless you have an attendant there looking welcoming, you leave the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retinue of decorated people.
On the other hand, if it was part of their culture to have the doors closed,
it would be nice to know!
And then we would be like, I have no complaints.
Right? A band of harpists lead, followed by elegant dancers dressed in blue and lavender, covered in gauzy silk.
Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali Ababa.
Orientalism is my favorite thing.
Yes.
And finally, a figure dressed in deep blue. Lips painted vivid lightning. They smirk, addressing the crowd.
I remember her. Sorry, I don't know if I can remember her voice completely, but like, hello, people of Vesuvia. The Procrin court greets you. Please hold all applause until the end.
Behind her emerges an ethereal, otherworldly figure. She looks like she is floating as she glides into the room. But we're going to have to deal with her in the next one! Hi! So, thank you for joining us, World Turtle. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos. It actually does a lot for us in regards to the YouTube algorithm.
Yep.
Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, our Patreon, and our Twitch. We have some links in the description down below. We'd love to see you at any of those locations. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!